All right, how you doing, guys? Today I'll be covering how the program reads strings. So, in the case of this, what we are trying to do is the first line is enter a name for Bucky. Obviously, we are trying to get the user to enter a name for the Bucky variable. And this Bucky variable we see is a string type variable. That means it stores strings. So anything that the computer doesn't recognize, the computer just prints out strings as strings. It's like a foreign language to the computer. But anyways, let's move down to CIN. That's just letting the user enter the name for Bucky. And something has went wrong here. I don't know what it is. String Bucky. My. What? That's pretty weird. I don't see anything wrong. What about this? Hold on a second. Whoa. Hey guys, did you notice the difference between this and what I entered? Oh, hold on. Why can't I go back? What I entered earlier? I don't see a difference, right? CIN. Oh, maybe I did the arrow the wrong way. Maybe I did. I don't know. I forgot. Yeah, maybe it's the arrow. But anyways, just be careful that when you are trying to input something from the user into the program, into the computer, you always want to use the arrow pointing right. Okay, now we follow the instruction. Enter a name for Bucky. Okay, what's a good name for Bucky? Well, Williams. Williams Bucky, good name. And the computer prints out Williams as it is. Williams is the name, and that all looks pretty good. But when we try to, if we want our first name and a middle name for Bucky, like Williams, and James Bucky. If you want Bucky's name to be Williams James Bucky, then when we print the name out, the program only prints out Williams, and that's pretty weird because for all we know here, when we are trying to input something from the user and store it into a variable, don't we store the whole thing instead of half the line? Well, let me tell you how computer works. So when we are trying to use CIN, this is going to make the computer program take whatever the user has entered and go from the first whatever letter or thing or number and count up to the first space bar. And it's going to stop there and store the first word or the first strings that doesn't have a spacebar in between. It's going to store that as a separate variable into Bucky. And so it's going to keep this and leave James alone. But how do we deal with James if we want to have James in there also? Well, all we have to do, thinking back to yesterday's tutorial, when reading from our list, we had to create two variables. I think one of them was, a number, and one of them was a name or something. Anyways, those variables were for the two types of information in our file. And because they're separated by a spacebar, they can't be all read into one variable type. So that's why we can name our second variable middle name. And we can, since this time we are assuming that the user will be entering the first name and the middle name, we can do something like this. Robert, hi. Okay, let's go. Let's say, okay, back to before. What's a good name for Bucky? Let's go with James White Bucky. Good name. Uh, hold on a second. White. And that's it. Hold on. Can't type White. Can't enter anything. There we go. And when we do the enter now, something wrong happened. Let me try again. James White. All right. You know why? Because I forgot to do one really dumb mistake. Middle name. There we go. Yeah, that's how you know this tutorial is made first try. No scripts or anything, just straight out of my mind. You know when dumb mistakes like that happen? That's bad. Okay, James White. And it prints out James White is the name. All right, so today we learned how program reads reads strings into, the variable and how we can deal with it in response. Anyways, I'm going to get some water right now because my mouth is dry from speaking.